We are just loving life, folks. We were here a few days ago, actually. Howdy, howdy. Mush, mush. So a lot of people are like, what is he doing with those dogs? A lot of people have never seen an electric dog sled on wheels because I'm probably the only one with one because I invented it. I pioneered it. So we were here a few days ago, and the conditions were so perfect. You good, Scott? Oh, cool. I didn't know. So the conditions were so perfect that we came back because, quite frankly, it's wet everywhere along the East Coast where we could go. And the problem with that is just mud and unnecessary, good deal. Come on, good girls. Unnecessary getting too dirty, though the dogs like it. But bikes sinking into it, having to use the four-wheeler, tearing up farms where we go. So it's just not going to be a good day for that. That's why we came to the asphalt trail where, for the most part, it's going to be pretty clear. And it's just awesome here. We are absolutely loving this. That's how we do it here on WooFDriver land, folks. My co-pilot here just is going to guide me to make sure I'm good. He's giving me the thumbs up, which means to go ahead. And we've got about 18 miles left of this trail till it runs out. And we're going this direction purposely because we're going to cross the Chickahominy River, which is an incredible view or an incredible riverfront. So I'm just trying to adjust my camera here so everybody can get the best view. So this is just awesome. I can't tell you how cool it is to get the dogs the exercise they need and for me to be able to experience this with them and enjoy it, discover new areas. Again, we travel the East Coast of the USA to find the best trails. And ooh, here we go. Now we got looks like a buzzard. That's really big. That's a turkey. No, that's a buzzard. He's I don't know if he's guarding something, but he swooped by here to let him know he's here, and dogs got excited by that. So that's anything can add to our adventure. Okay, so we're gonna let's give him a little water too, Scott. Give him a little water, folks, and do our thing. So we're giving an early water break just because we've got some signs to look at. Usually I will stop them. Yeah, I'll do 2 miles every 2 miles usually, depending on conditions. Let me read some of these signs because this is pretty historic. Okay, Meta, start recording. So, folks, we got a couple signs here which are telling about Sturgeon Point Cannons in Charles City County, Virginia. Cannons originally took its name from the plantation of the Kennon family. Kennon Creek, earlier known as David Jones Creek, served as a boundary for the earlier Wallington Parish. And I'll let you look and see if you'd like to continue on. I'm going to just go down to the next sign. Watch dog, Scott. Here. Got a bike rider coming. Kennon's Landing, located. Let me get you in view here. Located 1.5 miles south on the James River is Kennon's Landing. Richard Kennon married Ann Hunt about 1735 and lived there until his death in 1761. Ann Hunt's father was Captain William Hunt, whose father, William Hunt, a supporter of Nathaniel Bacon, is buried directly across the bay at Bachelor Point. You can continue on reading that. And we've got Fort Pocahontas. South of here on a bluff overlooking the James River stands the half-mile-long Fort Pocahontas, built in the spring of 1864 by Union soldiers during the Civil War. And you can keep reading about the fort if you pause the video. And finally, we have Sherwood Forest. So this is President John Tyler's home. John Tyler purchased this plantation 1 mile west in his native Charles City in 1842 while serving as 10th President of the United States and made it his home from 1845 until his death in 1862. So a lot of history there, folks. And Scott's maintaining the dogs, keeping them calm because they're a little bit excited because we just started out, got less than a mile. But good time to water, just getting out of the van, getting some excitement. It's a little warmer out here, still chilly, but we still got hoodies on, so it's not actually warm. But it's warm by today's standards. And that's how we do it here. Did they drink much?
No, not much.
Yeah, I figured as much. Cool. And
if you want to do dog pictures with these signs, I just got to do a different lens.
okay, cool. It's not necessary.
Cool.
I'm gonna roll. Cool.
Yeah, that's probably cool. Just this
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, sorry.
No, you're just excited then. They go.
Yeah, I want to go. Take your time, bud. No rush.
You're good.
Cool, thanks. Hike. Come on, girls. And that's how we do it here in WooFDriver land, folks. You can get a picture of each sign, though.
Oh, yeah.
So we just like that for the historical aspect, just to keep everybody posted to what I do and just for my own memories. But this is absolutely a gorgeous, gorgeous day. And a lot of history around here, which makes this so exciting and fun to do. So I have solid core tires, if you hear them. So what that means is there's foam inserts, basically. I can't get a flat tire. There can be other issues with these kinds of tires, but we've had a lot of luck with them. But it seems like when they get wet, they create a noise. That's all it is, like a sponge, and I'm clocking on the sponge. Eventually they will wear out. They'll get some flat spots, so I do have to replace them. But we find for this bike, they don't make them for all size tires. Oh, so this is a bathroom break, and my co-pilot will get it usually, or I will address it, but we never let it stay on the trail either way. Now, if we're back in the forest and it's just kind of no man's land, then we're okay. Oh, we got a double, I thought. So, good girls, come on. I think, yep, let me clean this up. Ho, guys. So when you're a road, we want to be careful when I leave the bike unattended, because they can pull it a little bit without my weight in there. So that's the only way to clean it sometimes when it's a little loose. Not to be too graphic there. Okay, guys, hike. And we're back on the trail. So one thing I did want to mention, when the dogs relieve themselves, the dogs will relieve themselves more readily. That's why it's easier to train them when you take them on a walk to an unfamiliar area. If you just let them out your door, some people say, I can't potty train my dog because they won't go to the bathroom outside, but they're going when they come in. So if you take them to an unfamiliar spot where they get new sights and scents and sounds and all that good stuff, they're more likely to empty themselves, because it's instinctual for them, as they don't want to have a full bladder or a full gut when they can release it if they have a confrontation with another animal, or if they're hunting. If they're basically get an opportunity at prey. Now, of course, they're going to be on a leash usually, so they're not going to necessarily have that opportunity. But the instinct tells them, hey, get rid of this so it doesn't bog you down. And that's why potty training can be real easy when you follow that notion there. Good job, Scott. Good job. Thank you. So we're coming up on a mile marker here. Now, there could be a dog over there because they're pulling and looking that way, but we'll keep going. So we're actually at mile marker 15. So we started at about 15 and 3/4, almost 16. So for the day, we should finish this trail out and get a good 16 miles in. Now, in these conditions, I run them without the booties. Booties to me are a necessary evil. So some dogs will need them all the time. Some dogs won't need them usually until they get older, depending on the activities you're doing with them. My problem with booties is they can't grip anything with them. So on this kind of surface, they slide. And I know what you're thinking, well, this kind of surface can do damage to their pads. And depending on the mileage you're doing, depending on the activity, if they're pulling hard, depending on the dog, most importantly, is going to determine if we need booties or not. Conditioning and maintaining a healthy callus and healthy claw lengths, which this helps you do, that's what it's all about, will reduce the need for booties. But there's some dogs that may always need it. It's just the way it goes. Usually I find my dogs only need them as they get older, because they can't lift their paws up as high, so they'll drag them a little bit. You probably won't notice them dragging it with your eyes, with the naked eye, but when you look at it in slow motion on a camera, you can see it if you film it, and you can see the wear on their pads, uneven wear, and that's when they would need it, or maybe you need to do less miles, or maybe you're going too fast. There's a lot of parts to the puzzle, but I actually am more concerned with using booties in snow, and that does preclude some of their grip as well, or limits some of it, inhibits some of it. But the snowballing effect can be brutal on dogs, and it usually occurs in certain types of snow and certain types of dogs. Usually it's determined if they have hair between their toes. That'll usually gather the snow, and then it just keeps rolling like a snowball. And some people will shave between their toes so they don't have it. A lot of people, depending on the distance, will use booties or a wax. A wax is great, a non-toxic wax made for that, to be applied between their toes or on their pads, like Mush Your Secret. And what's so wonderful about that is it protects them they still get the full use of their paws. The only problem is their pads and their claws that you have to be aware of is it wears off. Just like, you can imagine anything else that's applied can be weared off, can be worn off. And when it's worn off, it's not providing any protection. So you have to reapply it in the field. And, when it's -0 degrees, -10 degrees outside, it's you're going to take your gloves off and you're going to be in the wax, and it's going to be a little harder. So the bootie's a good solution. But again, depending on the dog and the situation, conditions, etc., determines when and if you'll need those protectants for the pads. I had a dog that had cancer, unfortunately, and he had to have, luckily he didn't lose any of his limbs, but it was a big old spot they took off on his paw, on his toes, on his pad, or near his pad, in his foot, I guess you could call it. And actually it worked really well. And the treatment, we did radiation, but he needed booties for a while because of his condition, and the booties worked wonderfully. And it was only one booty deal he needed. So that was real good, and that was how he needed it. And then when everything perfectly healed up, of course I did this all under veterinarian care, I was able to actually lose the booty and let him run without it. The skin toughened up, everything worked out, and it was cool. Thanks, Scott. You good?
Yeah, I was setting up this booth.
Excellent.
Hey, you got riders coming up behind you.
10-4, thanks, bud, thanks. So that's the advantage of having a co-pilot is, I've got mirrors, and I can, but easy, guys, no. They want to go on the road. Howdy. Have a great ride, folks. All over. So the dogs are antsy to get over to the grass because it's wet, and they like the wet sometimes. They didn't want to jump in the puddle, but the grass that's wet holds the sense of other animals. Anytime it's easier to run them on grass in the sense that it motivates them. And but that's one of the big advantages here is the electric dog sled on wheels. The way the U-bars and the mushing bar, and this is all my terminology because I designed it all, the way they work, they can nudge the dog gently to keep them exactly where I want them. And they have limited, come on, good girls, going through a puddle here. They have gives them limited range, which is fine. So that's why they're in a half a harness, to keep them from getting too far away from the electric dog sled on wheels, because we're on tight trails, relatively speaking. I understand, and I've done it before. People run dogs on sleds with a tow line, and when you have a good lead dog, they can keep the line tight, which means it's perfectly in front of them, and they're not going to deviate a whole lot, but there's no guarantee. I mean, something comes here or there, and when you're in a tight situation on a trail like this, when you've got bike riders, they didn't sign up to be next to sled dogs like that. So it really wouldn't be appropriate for me to run them on these trails like this. And the nice part is not needing a lead sled dog means this is so easy to do. I could do it at almost any time in any way. So that's just my co-pilot. If you see him in the camera, he's riding next to me to do some cool special effects footage. We use all kinds of 360 cameras, and we do neat stuff just because it's fun. And what I'm doing here is so unusual, and I love sharing it because it gives people ideas. Think outside of the box. Beautiful day out here, folks.
Coming up behind you, Bill, multiple.
10-4, thanks, bud. Okay, Meta, start recording. Howdy. Howdy, howdy. Have a great ride, folks. Thanks so much. Haul over. So you see, I'll bite the shoulder sometimes because he said multiple people were passing us, and I didn't know how many that meant. So, folks, I could always check the mirror, but I didn't. We're on the Virginia Capitol Trail. If you follow me last, a couple of days ago, so I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, we went and did about 14 miles out here. We were on the Malvern Hill Battlefield, and then we came over to the Virginia Capitol Trail just to do something a little different. I rode my Easy Raider mushboard, I call it, and we had a ball. And we're continuing on because the weather in the area has just been so wonky, for lack of a better description. And we came out of a polar vortex cold. My house has still got snow. It's melting, but slushy because it rained yesterday. So a lot of trails are in rough shape. You can find a nice asphalt trail here with good conditions. No rain today, and a nice way to go. We do, and that's what I found here in the Virginia Capitol. That's why we continued on. So it's about 3.5 hours from our home base in Maryland. And to my left, my co-pilot's doing some special effects filming we use 360 cameras and all kinds of gear, as I explained earlier, and just cool stuff. So beautiful day on tap here, probably in the low to mid 50s, which is good for the dogs. I mean, they're not going to open it up per se because it's just too warm for them in that respect. But Dog Motorsports makes this all possible because they don't have to pull. So they can use limited energy to just stroll along. Or when they get excited, they can kick it up. But keep in mind that I will maintain them to not overwork themselves in these temperatures. I never want them overworking themselves, but to not get too hot in these temperatures. So you got to navigate sometimes, easy girls, through these, what they call bollards and gates and fences and all that good stuff. But because of the dimensions that I designed, the electric dog sled on wheels that I'm on here, it's easy to do. He just gave me the clearance that this road was okay to cross. Just looks like an access road. So I'm getting red in my ear that we got in a little better than 1.5 miles. So that's cool stuff. Cool stuff, folks. Okay, Meta, stop recording. Cool. So this trail, not the most scenic trail, but steeped in a lot of history, a lot of Civil War history. We're not that far from Washington, D.C., probably 2 hours or so. So a lot of historical aspects happen here, a lot of Civil War battles, etc. But it's really not a crowded area, as you see. I mean, it's populated. Of course, when you get to Richmond, it's very populated. But we're a half hour out of Richmond where we're at now. Remember, this trail is 50.
Riders behind you, Billy. Riders behind you.
Thank you. Haul over. Thank you. Hey. Have a great day. So they got them. And usually people on the trail will call out, they're behind you, but they didn't. And I didn't check my mirror. So, but that's why I've got a co-pilot. So, but that's why I went over to the left, they were coming to my right. But that's, part of the wolf driving aspect. So I will always yield to everybody because I feel so fortunate to be out here. And what I'm doing is kind of unusual, of course. So we want to give everyone the opportunity to pass us and not be hindered in any way by what we're doing. So Lola came back a little bit on my left, and she's the eldest, but has nothing to do with her age. She's just not as motivated. Lola's kind of a chill dog. She wants to go her pace. Now, when a deer crosses in front of us, or a rabbit of the sorts, she'll be in turbo mode, and she'll carry that turbo mode out pretty good, but she'll tire quicker than the other dogs. She's a big boned girl. At one point we thought it was possibly thyroid issue, but it doesn't seem to be. But as they get older, they get issues which may cause them to lose weight, gain weight, or whatever. So always keeping an eye on everything going on, and it's important because we can prevent issues before they happen, essentially. But she's doing great. I mean, all the dogs are doing great. I've run dogs 15 years old. I've had some Huskies that have been the golden age of 15, male, female, you name it, and I've run them like this. Not exactly like this. Back then they were on the side. Actually, like this, because some of my oldest guys that have crossed Rainbow Bridge got to experience this a little bit. I think they were closer to 14 and 15. But my 15-year-olds were on the side. And I've got a special, I can tow a trailer with this setup here on my bike. And I also, on some of my bikes, have specialized seats that I can rest the dogs. So I can take the older dogs, can still go with me, which they thrive on. When they see their pack mates, no matter what the age discrepancy is between them or disparity is between them, they want to go. So we will, I can take them and they want to be part of it. That's what I do. So you might see my co-pilot here. He's running on the bridge just for some special effects. That's what he does. And I know you just saw him, but we spend a lot of time. I mean, every trip I do, because I love my dog so much, is just epic to me. Just getting out there with them. So I want it filmed the best way possible. And actually all these videos, I know most of them are posted to YouTube, but I'll actually have them playing all the time in my man cave. So I look up and I see, dog I ran 20 years ago, one of my dogs. I've been doing this for 30 years, but I have been filming actually probably 30 years. I have some video. And I'm just, I don't tear up, but I get a warm and fuzzy feeling because I've seen it so many times. And it's almost like the dog's there with me watching. I mean, it's just incredible. So this trail, again, we're on the Virginia Capitol Trail. I'm going to call it in the Richmond vicinity. I'm just getting a reading. So I got 2 miles in right now, folks. So just so you know, if I quiet down for a second, usually every 5 minutes or so, I get a reading in my ear from my app that's running to tell me the stats of how we're doing. Our distance, our speed, the distance travel, average speed, all that kind of good stuff. So even the weather. So I can be cognizant of all situations. When I say the weather, the temperature, so I know what's going on. Obviously, I can see this, but you get acclimated. Sometimes it can be warmer, and you get acclimated to it. So it just keeps it running in my mind what the temperatures are getting at. And that's measured by the cell tower, which is in here, but it's close enough. But I might take a break because I'm listening to what's going on in my ear. And it just told me we crossed the 2-mile marker. Now, the average speed usually is not real accurate because I start the meters, my apps, before we actually take off because I don't want to forget them. And usually when we take off, it's a lot of hustle bustle. The dogs want to go, and it's just too much for me to remember, and then I'll neglect to do it. And it's important for me to at least know the distance. I can do it by mile markers, but I like to have a record of it. This keeps a record, the app. So I use a couple different apps, by the way. I use Cycle Meter and I use Relive. So I've got a few different phones with me. I'm a little eccentric, as they say. But this is what I do. And for exactly what I do, I'm doing it the best I can. And if I always can find improvement, that's what I look for. That's what I look to do. So as I was saying, it's just gorgeous out here. And I was talking about the warm and fuzzy feeling I get from all the videos we do, and it's incredible. I've got all the dogs. Well, not these dogs I didn't have as puppies, but I had Lola. I guess she was 2, maybe she was 3, but she was definitely not a puppy. But I had her when she was young, so now, what is that? She's probably 8, so 7 or 8. So I've had her 4 or 5 years now, and time flies, folks. I think I've had her since 19. So I've had her 6. Yeah, I've had her since 19. So I've had her 6 years. So she's about 8, I believe. And I could check, of course, but it's hard to keep track of all their age. And that's why this is good too. My veterinarian lets me know when they're due for shots. And of course, I'm always taking them to get their shots and what they need, because there's so many things they can get. We don't come in contact with a lot of other dogs because I don't go to dog parks. Not that dog parks are a bad thing, they're a great thing, but I do so much other activities with them that I don't have time to take them to a dog park, essentially. But they're fine. They get socialized with each other. I've got a little Chinese crested at home they get socialized with, friends that have dogs, etc. Sorry, folks, had to look at the phone there. How beautiful is this? Now, the sun is beating down on us. The dogs are really well insulated, so actually their fur, their hair, helps maintain them cool as well, because it is hollow fiber. So if you can imagine like a window where they trap the air between and they're insulated, that makes keeps them more weatherproof, more less slower if they're going to leak air or leak temperature from inside to outside. It insulates it basically. So that's what their hair is basically. And the sun hitting them, for us, it's going to hit our skin, our clothes more, and have a bigger effect, or at least a quicker effect. With them, not so much. Now, they're all kind of dark, my dogs. So I've had all white Huskies before. G-over. But with the darker dogs, the sun, it's like absorbs it. So the white dogs reflect it. So I got to keep that in mind too, but it's going to be less impactful for them because of their coat, but it still affects them some. So we try to ride in the shade in the warmer months.